Good morning, students. I welcome you all to this session of biology. Today we will be dealing with the topic of excretion, which is a part of your lesson life processes. Now, students, what is excretion? Excretion is a collection, separation, and elimination of waste from the body of organisms. Now, different organisms have got different strategies, that is, different methods to eliminate this waste. Like, for example, in case of unicellular organisms like that of amoeba, the excretion takes place by a very simple process that is nothing but diffusion. But in case of multicellular organism, they have a specialized organ which perform the task of excretion. Now, the excretory organs in case of multicellular organisms like humans include lungs, kidney and skin. Now, lungs, students, you are familiar with it. It helps in the excretion of the respiratory waste, that is carbon dioxide. Kidney will help in the excretion of nitrogenous waste, which is formed as a product of protein metabolism. Metabolism is breakdown of protein. And skin has in the excretion of again nitrogenous waste, that is in the form of sweat. So the excretory organ in case of multicellular organism like human beings include lungs, kidney and skin. So now let's go ahead with the next part, that is excretory system in case of human being. Now the excretory system of human being includes a pair of kidney, a pair of ureters, a urinary bladder and a urethra. Now students, first we will study about kidney. Now human being shows the presence of a pair of kidney, that is the right kidney and the left kidney. Both the kidneys are located in the abdominal region. Now in the abdominal region, they are located on the dorsal side, that is it is present on the back side of the body. In the abdominal region, they are present on the dorsal side, back side of the body. Okay, on either side of your backbone. Okay, so either side of the backbone we have one kidney. Now it is bean shape. Shape of the kidney is bean shape. The outer surface is convex and the inner surface is concave, and that concavity has got a notch, and that notch is called an hilum. Now I will just enlarge this diagram and I will tell you. Now students, this is the human kidney. You can see the shape is bean shape. You can see, okay, you can see the outer surface is convex. You can see the inner surface is concave on the other side. Here there is a notch which is called as a hilum. The length of the human kidney is around 10 to 12 centimeters. Okay, the breadth of the human kidney is around 5 to 6 centimeter, whereas the thickness of the human kidney is around 2 to 3 centimeters. So this was regarding the position and the external features of the human kidney. Okay, now students, let us move to the next part. So you have studied about the kidney, you have studied about the position and you have studied about the external structure. Now let us go to the next part, and in the next part you are going to study about the next organ, that is the ureters. Now what are ureters? The ureters are two slender means thin, narrow, two slender muscular tubes which starts from the hilum of the kidney. Hilum is nothing but a notch on the inner side of the kidney, and it opens into the urinary bladder. The ureters help in the transport of urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. So I just enlarge this diagram so that you can see. Now students, can you see this is the hilum of the kidney on either side? Can you see the hilum here? Yeah. From the hilum, can you see the two yellow tubes which are coming down? It is running in the downward direction, and you can see it is opening into the urinary bladder. It will help in the transport of urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. And the urine is also transported by a process which is called as peristalsis. Okay, I hope you are familiar with peristalsis in the lesser part of nutrition part we are studying. Okay, so that is alternative contraction and relaxation of muscles which causes the substances to pass through the muscular tubes. That is called as peristalsis. So we are completed with kidney, we have completed with ureter. Now we will see the next part, students, and that is nothing but urinary bladder. With a urinary bladder is a pear shaped. It is a muscular reservoir of urine. Reservoir means a bag in which you can store the urine, okay, for a particular span of time. What is the function of the urinary bladder? It has in the temporary storage of urine. Now the urinary bladder will open to the outside by means of an opening which is called as urethra. So just enlarge the urinary bladder and we will see. So students, this is a urinary bladder. It is a muscular bag which serves as a reservoir, that is storehouse of urine. It has in the temporary storage of urine. After it is storing a particular amount, okay, you get the sensation of urination and the urine is thrown out through the urethra. So the next part we will study will be urethra. So now we will study about urethra. Now, the urinary bladder opens to the outside through an aperture. Aperture means opening, which is called as the urethral aperture. The urethra will help in the discharge of urine. Discharge means removal of urine to the outside. Urethra is longer in males than in case of females. Okay. So, students, you can see the urethra here. Now, this is the urethra. You can see it is opening to the outside. It will help in the discharge of urine. And urethra is longer in case of male as compared to that of the females. So students, we have completed with the excretory system of human beings. We studied about a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder and urethra, and we have studied the function of it. Okay. Now students, let us see the internal structure of kidney. Okay. Now internally, the kidney is made up of number of units which are called as the nephrons, and these nephrons are the basic filtration unit of kidney. Okay, now I just enlarge this so that you can see the basic unit. Okay, simple unit you can see of the kidney. Okay, so here it is. Now let's talk about the blood supply to the kidney. Students, you can see this is the renal artery. It is red colored, so it is supplying the blood here, and this is nothing but the renal vein. Okay. Now renal artery is carrying the blood which is containing the nitrogenous waste, because it is a nitrogenous waste which need to be filtered and which need to be separated and which need to be eliminated from the blood. So you can see this is a renal artery. A branch of renal artery is entering here inside the functional unit of the kidney, which is called as a nephron. And that part of the renal artery which is entering into the functional unit of the kidney, that is called as the glomerulus. So what is a glomerulus? Glomerulus is a network of capillaries which is formed from the branch of the renal artery. Now, other than that, can you see a cup-shaped structure here? This cup-shaped structure is called as the Bowman's capsule. It is into the Bowman's capsule that the glomerulus is placed. The glomerulus is placed inside the Bowman's capsule. Okay. Now, together, now the next part we are studying is, we are going to study about the tubules. Now, the tubules are the tubular part of the nephron. You can see the tubules are surrounded by a series of blood vessels, and you can see that the tubules are finally opening into a urine collecting duct. This urine collecting duct is in turn receiving the connection from many other nephrons. So this is the basic functional unit of kidney, that is nothing but nephron. And what are the parts of the nephron? Nephron has got a knot of capillary or a bunch of capillary which is called as a glomerulus. The glomerulus is formed from the renal artery. It is a renal artery which is supplying the blood containing the nitrogenous waste for filtration. Now this glomerulus is placed in a cup-shaped structure which is called as the Bowman's capsule. Now after the Bowman's capsule, we have a long slender tube, and that is nothing but the tubular part of the nephron. The tubular part of the nephron is surrounded by a series of blood capillaries. The nephron finally opens into a urine collecting duct. Urine collecting duct in turn receives a connection from many other nephrons. So here the basic filtration unit of kidney. Nephron, it is a basic filtration unit in the kidneys. It consists of Bowman's capsule, glomerulus, tubules and collecting duct. Bowman's capsule, as I told you, it is a cup-shaped end of the nephron. Glomerulus is a network of capillaries inside the Bowman's capsule. Now, then you have the tubular part of the nephron, which is surrounded by capillaries, and then finally the collecting duct, which is going to receive connection from many other nephrons. So these are the parts of a nephron, which is a basic functional unit of a kidney. How we had studied that the base structural functional unit of a lungs is alveoli, because alveoli was doing the work of transferring the gases. So here the actual urine formation is taking place in the nephron. Okay, so this nephron is called as a basic functional unit of a kidney. Now students, here we are going to study the process of urine formation. Now in this process of urine formation, I have drawn a self-explanatory diagram. That is, a diagram itself will tell you everything, okay, of what is happening in the process of urine formation. Now urine formation basically consists of 3 steps. One is called ultrafiltration, that is nothing but the filtration of the waste. Then is selective reabsorption, that is some selected substances are taken back. And the last is nothing but tubular secretion. So now we will study each of the process in detail. Okay. So for that, first we will start with students ultrafiltration. Now, the process of ultrafiltration, it takes place in the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. Now students, you are aware that the glomerulus is formed by a network of capillaries. And you know that the network of capillaries is formed by the renal artery. Renal artery carries the blood containing nitrogenous waste. So you can see all this here. Now, in this glomerulus, the blood which is containing the nitrogenous waste is going to get filtered. So when the blood is going to get filtered through the minute openings in the Bowman's capsule, this filtered blood will enter into the inner part of the Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule has got very minute opening. So the blood which is getting filtered in the glomerulus, through the minute openings, it will enter into the Bowman's capsule. Okay. Now, substances which enter into the Bowman's capsule is called as a filtrate, because it is found after the process of filtration of the blood which is containing the nitrogenous waste. So now let us see what is there in the filtrate. Now the filtrate will contain glucose, it will contain amino acid, it contains salts, water and the nitrogenous waste of human being, that is nothing but urea. Okay. So students, you have seen what is a constituent of a filtrate. So filtrate is containing glucose, amino acid, salts, water and urea. Now, don't you feel that the filtrate is containing some important substances like that of glucose and water? Okay. So can our body afford to throw glucose and water? No. So here the problem is that the filtrate is containing wanted and unwanted substances. Okay. Now let it be, let the blood get filtered. Now we will see what we will do with that wanted substances. So students, now let's go to the next part, and in the next part we are going to study about selective reabsorption. Now, you know that the filtrate contains wanted and unwanted substance. Now students, you can see this arrows which I have shown, the red arrow, that is nothing but the movement of this filtrate to the tubular part of the nephron. So when this filtrate is moving through the tubular part of the nephron, now you can see here, the blood vessels are there surrounding this tubular part. What does this blood vessels do? Now these blood vessels are going to absorb all the useful substance from the filtrate. All the useful substances will be taken back by the blood, because the blood does not want to throw away the glucose and water. So all glucose, all amino acids which are required by the body, most salt and most water is reabsorbed from the blood. But what is not reabsorbed? It is the urea which is not reabsorbed because it is a nitrogenous waste and it is the one which we have to throw. So here from the filtrate we are only taking up means what? Reabsorbing the substances which are useful to us. And we are not taking substances like that of urea which is a nitrogenous waste. So this type of reabsorption is called as a selective reabsorption. Selective reabsorption. Is it clear? So students, we have completed with ultrafiltration. We have completed with the second part, that is selective reabsorption. Now let us see the next part. Yes. Now the next step in the urine formation is a part which is called as tubular secretion. So you can see that the urine has reached here, that filtrate has reached here. Okay, we have taken the substance what is required from the filtrate. So now it has reached the last part of the nephron. Now when it has reached the last part of the nephron, maybe the amount of water in your body is more. Okay, and the salts are also more. So that may not be kept inside our body. So now that some water, that is the extra amount of water or the extra amount of salt, and all if any urea has escaped from the process of ultrafiltration, all those substances will be collected and it will be added into the nephron. And this process of adding the substance to the nephron is called as tubular secretion. Now after the process of tubular secretion, now that filtrate which is formed is called as urine, and that urine will be carried ahead by the collecting duct, and the collecting duct is receiving the connection from many other nephrons, and finally all the collecting duct will open into the ureters, and that ureter will collect this urine and pass it on to the into the urinary bladder. So this is the way the process of urine formation takes place. I hope students you have understood this. So my dear students, this was the end of the excretion part of the lesson life processes. Now students, we have to do two more activities from this lesson. So we will look into the activity now. Now activity 6.7 of your NCERT textbook. In that they have discussed about the hemoglobin level. All of you are aware about hemoglobin. We have done it in the lesson of respiration. Okay. We have said how it helps in the transport of gases. Okay. Now hemoglobin in the children of age 6 to 12 is 11.5 to 15.5 g per dl. In adult female, it is 12.1 to 15.1 gram per dl. Adult male, it is 13.6 to 17.7 gram per dl. Now, in case of cows, it is average is 10.5. In a male cow, it is 10 to 15. In a female cow, it is 8 to 12. In a buffalo, it is 12.5 to 14.5. And in a buffalo female, it is 11.5 to 13.5. So this is a normal hemoglobin level in human beings and the cow family, rather I can say. We are talking about male, female and the cows. Okay, yeah. So now let's talk about hemoglobin now. Now hemoglobin content acts as a marker for good health. If you have a proper level of hemoglobin, so that shows here you're having a good health. Okay. The lower range of hemoglobin indicates anemia and malnutrition. Now, you have seen that if you look into the previous chart, students, you have seen that the males are showing a higher level of hemoglobin as compared to that of females. You are seeing that in case of human beings. You are seeing in case of cow. You are seeing in case of buffalo also. Now, why is it so? The difference in the hemoglobin value in male and females are due to hormonal influence. It is because of hormonal, which we will study about the hormones in the next lesson. Okay, it's because of hormonal influence. Now, students, now let's study the activity 6.8 of your NCERT textbook. Now students, in this you are going to take pot A and pot B. Now in pot A I am going to plant a stick, whereas in the pot B I have a plant. Okay, so I label it as pot A and pot B. Now we go to the next step now students. In the next step what I do is I am going to cover the pot A with a polythene bag over here, and at the same time the pot B also I will cover it with a polythene bag. I will keep it for around 3 to 4 hours. Now when I keep it for around 3 to 4 hours, what is my observation? Okay, yeah. Observation is that water droplet appeared in the plastic sheet having the plant, while no water droplet appears in a plastic sheet covered by the stick. Now students, you can see here, I can see some droplet of water over here. Okay, now in that pot in which the plant is present, whereas water droplet is not there in pot A where I have planted a stick. Okay, now why? Let us explain that. Now plants release out water molecules in the form of water vapor into the air, and all of you know that this process is called as transpiration. Now the plastic sheet does not allow these water molecules to escape. As a result, it will undergo condensation and we will see the water droplets inside the plastic sheet. So this proves that the plants will show a process which is called as transpiration. Okay, so you can see this droplet. So this is an evidence to prove the process of transpiration and to explain the transpiration pull, which we had discussed in the previous session. Okay students, yeah. So now my dear students, this marks the end of your lesson life processes. Okay, so in life processes we studied about the different type of life processes like nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion. Now students, I have some assignment for you. Yeah, we have to make a biology project. Now in the biology project, this is a cover page. The first page which I am showing you here is a cover page. Okay, you can decorate your cover page. Okay, first of all, name of the student, you have to write your name, your roll number, your standard and your division. Name of the lesson, you know it as life processes. And the topics which we are going to cover in the project include the digestive system of human, respiratory system of human, structure of heart showing the course of blood flow, which you will see in that video. Okay, on the right hand side we have seen the blood flow on the right hand side and on the left hand side, and the process of urine formation. Okay, now students, you have to draw the diagrams for all the 4 topics, and the diagrams should be self-explanatory. A self-explanatory diagram we have already seen for the formation process of urine formation. So here I just give you an example here for the self-explanatory diagram. Here I have just shown a little bit of the diagram of your digestive system of human. A little bit only I have shown. I have not completed the diagram. Students, you need to complete it. Now here I have marked this as a mouth. Now when you mark it as a mouth, besides the mouth, you just write the function of the mouth. You just write what are the organs which are present in the mouth. What is the function of the mouth, that it has in the chewing of the food. It helps in mixing the food with the saliva. Then you can label the salivary glands. Then salivary glands you can contains secrete saliva. You can write the constituents of the saliva. After writing the constituents of saliva, you can write the function of each of the constituents. So this is the way you have to prepare a self-explanatory diagram for all the 4 topics there. Here see students, on the right hand side I have drawn the liver over here. Inside the liver I have drawn the gallbladder. I have shown that the gallbladder produces bile, and the bile will help in the emulsification of fat. So this way self-explanatory diagram you are going to draw for all the 4 topics of your project. Okay, for page 1 it is digestive system of human, that is topic 1. Okay, topic 2 respiratory system of human, that will also be a self-explanatory diagram showing the nostrils, showing the nasal cavity, the trachea supported by C-shaped cartilage, what is the length of the trachea, okay, or internally lined by cilia and mucus secrete. Please write all that. The next is structure of heart showing the course of blood flow. Now in the structure of heart showing the course of blood flow, students, in the center in this part you can draw the diagram of heart. Okay, leave the space on the right hand side also, leave the space on the left hand side also. On the right hand side make a flow chart for to show the blood circulation on the right hand side. Right, make a flow chart on the left hand side to show the course of blood flow on the left hand side of the heart. So this is the way you are going to present it. Now the last, the process of urine formation, which I have already discussed in the session. So you can go through the session and you can just draw the same diagram which I have done. In fact, you can add something to it. Okay, so that's the end of this session. Okay, so we have very successfully completed with the lesson of life processes. Thank you.